Nigeria is actually not coming up with something. They said, hey, if you don't do this, this is what we're going to do. We have not seen that dexterity on the part of Nigerian military to cause or wreak havoc. Rather, what we've seen, which is to next to your second question, is the in what this guy, what they call them, Fulani headsmen or terrorists. I don't like to pin it to tribe, but this terrorists have intensified effort. It's just to make a statement. It's not just sabotaging the government. It's trying to make a statement that we are in charge, and that is where I have a problem with the current administration. You need to show some sort of seriousness in 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 this fight against this terrorist. You have the firepower, even though we know that our military has been decimated in some ways. We don't have as much men as we used to in the past, but we still have more men than Boko Haram. We still have more ammunition than them. So I don't know. Is it a political will that is holding him back from reacting and doing what he needs to do? Even if some people in the north will be angry about it, but you still need to show some strength that you are the president or you are the commander in chief. Right now, he's running helter skelter, looking for help. The United States is not going to help you. They will just come in. They said exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be very fast, vicious about it, and they will just strike and go. What happened after the strike? They're not going to put boots on the ground. We saw what the Biden administration did. They had to pull out of Iraq after spending over $2 trillion. So it's going to be worse. And I think I want to juxtapose it with what El Rufai said in his tweet, and also what the interview he had with Arise News, where he exposed basically what happened in 2015 or prior to 2015 if Goodluck Jonathan had not handed over to Buhari, and how they used this same terrorist from the Sahel region, talking about Mali, Burkina Faso, and all the other, travel all the way down to Nigeria, wreak havoc, and still go back. And I could tell you categorically that we have remnants of them still causing havoc right now as we speak. In conclusion, I think that if the Tinubu government is not ready to step on toes, because we know that there are certain people, certain elements, certain powers and principalities, you can call it, in Nigeria currently that are pulling the lever of these insurgencies in the country. And Tinubu knows that. You know, see, let me tell you, once you get to that level, you will know the people that are doing it, and they will tell you this is why they're doing it. If it's not ready to step on those toes, there's no way we're going to have, it's going to get worse. And unfortunately, the United States can't do much. They can strike, they can kill hundreds of Boko Haram terrorists, and that's it. I'm so sorry, your hands are up. I land my plane.
Okay, thank you very much for your wonderful submission. I did remember the last time you spoke on this platform, that was about a week or a few days ago, and it would appear then that there's this plan or this idea that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is traveling to the United States, Washington, to go and meet Donald Trump. And I remember you saying that Arise TV and everything is set for him. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But I find it quite disturbing because that we have not really done a lot. Um, it would then appear that time was wasted, and They didn't take this as serious as they should. But let's see what happens. In politics, the little I know is never say never. 24 hours is a long time. In politics, perhaps something will happen. You said it. I've heard it from so many persons that there's not going to be boots on the ground. And I think Mr. Bike, you did say something of such as well. You believe that there's not going to be boots on the ground, Mr. Bike.
That's correct. There won't be boots on the ground, but there might be operations. That's all.
Yeah, thank you very much. So a lot of people are saying there might not be boots on the ground. Never say never, but there might be, operation is most likely going to happen, but there might not be boots on the ground. So it's very interesting. Thank you very much, sir, for your submission. We'll then go to Haruna. Sorry, guys, I'm going to those who have not spoken before for the past few days. I will come back to those who have contributed before on this platform. So please bear with me. I just wanted to give a lot of people opportunity to be part of the conversation. Haruna, good evening, and thank you for joining us. How are you doing, sir?
Good evening, Mindset, and everyone in the space. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. So, the question, the same thing that the question I asked the last speaker. So, there are persons who believe that this kidnapping is a way to sabotage the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And second part of the question is, the delegates have met with some persons in America, especially the Secretary of War. What do you make of it?
Mindset is just a narration trying to happen in Nigeria, and we should study it carefully. Like what happened in Syria. The narration started gradually with these talks. We saw what is happening now. And what happened in Iraq, the story started with weapons of mass destruction. They sold that to the world before they struck what they wanted to achieve in Iraq. And in Libya too, is the same narration. Likewise, and we are not different from other entities that came or were victim of this narration. Ours is the genocide, is a build-up. And we saw what happened with the past countries where they are to be. And we shouldn't allow ourselves to be entangled into this, although it's already late, but it's better to be late than never. We should take a step back and think and recalibrate all our thinking and refocus on it happening all over the world, and it's trying to happen to us. History never fails, and it's always a model for you to judge and rejudge things. Nigeria, most unfortunate, we are going down that line. And the meeting with War Secretary, he said something there that I was surprised, because the build up to every movement or every move or every, he was directed to set up or bring out a plan of what will happen to Nigeria. Trump said it in his speech, and he acknowledged it. So, meeting him to address issue is very good, and it's in our own favor as a country. And they can never put boots on ground in Nigeria. Nigeria is not Iraq, it's not Syria. The demographics and everything is against the US. And they can strike from the sea. Agreed. But put boots on the ground, they can't do it mindset. I can bet on everything. They can never do it. They can't even try it. Thank you, mindset.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Rotes, I can see you want to respond to that. Please do bear with us for a minute. I just wanted to give the new speaker to speak, and I've got a question for Haruna, Mr. Baiki, and yourself. Please bear with me. Let's go to Okay, big balls. I don't know which ball that is big. I hope it's it's a normal football that we know. Big balls. You have the mic. Good evening, sir.
Hello, good evening. Thank you, Mindset. It's actually the soccer ball. Okay. Um, in line with the topic, the insecurity in Nigeria, for me, I think like someone stated here, that the government didn't really take some things serious. In fact, I think it started when um, there was this US report during Obasanjo's time that said Nigeria was going to disintegrate in 2005.
All right. So unfortunately, we lost Mr. Big Balls. Don't know what's going on tonight. Something happened to me. I was kicked out of the first spaces, and where we are. So let's quickly go to Mr. Azu. Mr. Azu, you have the mic. I can ask the same question. I want us to concentrate most on the question I'm asking. Let's not digress as well. There are a lot of persons who believe that this thing going on right now is a sabotage against the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then the second line of the question is, the delegates have met with some persons in America. What do you make of it?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mindset, and everybody here on this space. Thank you for your sacrifice and your labor of love and your patriotism. We will all come out of this stronger people. Thank you so much. I don't want to toe the line of sabotage or any insinuation around regime preservation. I'm more interested in the overall well-being of the polity, the republic. Let me put it this way. What if this could be a way to accumulate civilian human shield? You know, people are saying here that the United States will not try to step foot on the ground. So, which means they have alternatives. They could strike with drones. They have all the capabilities, the advanced radar systems to surgically take away all the elements from the moon, from the sky. They don't need to step their foot here. So what if these guys are picking our children across the federation to use them as human shield to dissuade the United States from striking? Because we know the US being a humanitarian focused state based on their activities worldwide. The United States is involved in a lot of activities. They supply us with retroviral drugs here. They supply us with a lot of welfare aids and all that. So they wouldn't strike where our children are also being kept. I'm scared because I was discussing with a former minister today, and we were raising these concerns. If our children are picked up and then distributed, exam is coming up before the Christmas. We won't see our children, they won't write their exams, and then they are there with this terror. We don't know what is happening to them. The United States will not strike. Israeli had about 90 captives with the Palestinian Hamas. United States refused to strike until all of them returned home. And it was the condition for peace. So these guys could keep them as condition for peace. I don't want to go into that conspiracy theory, but it could be a possibility. You know, because all of a sudden the federal government is announcing shutdown of unity schools. As of now, there have been alarms in Plateau, Cross River, Nasarawa State, Niger State, even Ogun State, and Kwara. Schools are being closed up. Could it be that the intelligence sector is working on this on this theory? So it's not about individual office holders. I don't want to buy into that. Then I also want to proceed further to say that in looking at this development, this former minister was asking me, can you give me a tally again? I'm forgetting. Give me a tally of what has happened across the last 2 weeks. It's pathetic. And then I just put it through again with him. November 21, St. Mary's Catholic Church in Papiri, Niger State. November 18, just tracking backwards to what had happened in November. Comprehensive Care Secondary School, KB State, 25 children and vice principal killed. Then again, November 18, passengers abducted on the highway between Ogobia and the Doka Road in Otukpo local government of Benue State. Then November 17, Kushe Gagdu Kagarko local government, Kaduna State, a church, St. Stephen Parish, Reverend Antoniero, his brother was abducted and killed. And then another father, Bobo Pasco, was also, it's rumored that he's been killed. And then 7 parishioners abducted. Then again, on November 19, at Christ Apostolic Church in Eruku, Kwara State, parishioners about 35 abducted, 3 killed. November 14, Brigadier General Emuba was ambushed and men killed, and he was later recaptured. And it was also reported he was killed. November 5th, headers attacked Angule in Oklewu, Ohimini, LG, Benue. 4 people dead. And then November 1, headers attacked Quick community in the local government, Pushit, Mangu in Plateau State, 10 dead. 2 communities, in Riom, Kui in Riom, and the Pushit in Mangu, and 10 people dead. And then there was also the alarm today in Nasarawa State, Goma, that children were forced to close early because of fear of terrorism attack. So we have a situation, although he was trying to ask what of the bus is, I said, no, that one, the bus accident where 16 prospective coppers died has nothing to do with terrorism. It's unfortunate. You need to really have a handle on your mental health to follow the situation in Nigeria. This is not the country we know. Things are happening so fast. We don't know what is going on. We appear to have lost grounds, and even within, we thought we could come together to devise ways. It's speaking divergent views. People are saying, no, don't come and help us, stay where you are. We can deal with it. We've not dealt with it for 15 years, for 10 years. I mean, no, 15 years, since 2009. And then others are saying, let them come and help us. We have not had consensus on this discussion. And then you wonder, what is the problem that we have for government space? Is it that Nigeria is too big? The chief of army staff was talking about forceful conscription, that 10,000 youths were brought in and they disappeared. And then that this time around, everybody above 18 years will be conscripted. So the fact is, we already have sufficient manpower. We have at least not less than 400,000 personnel in the military, in the army, and the police also about 350,000. If we manage our resources, because nowadays modern security is about technology. If we had, let me give you an instance. Nigeria's landmass is around 953,768 square kilometers. United States is about 3,287,000 square kilometers. China is about 9 million. So China is even, bigger than, US is 9 million, China is 9 million. So China and US are almost the same size. Let me tell you, Nigeria is not even up to 1/10 of the United States for landmass. Every inch of the United States is covered. Every inch of China is covered. I've gone around from the north of China to the south. How do they do it? It's not about, you don't even see security men on the highway. You don't even see anybody harassing. They rarely, if you even see security men at the airport, they don't even talk to you. They are not armed. How come they are secure? They are so safe. Yeah? Now, these people have deployed surveillance equipment with advanced radar systems, with panoramic views to detect anything around their borders. We saw what happened during the clash with India on the Galway border crossing. Just 4 days of battle, India lost 20 soldiers, China lost only 4. So they have their eyes around their territory. There are no ungoverned spaces. How come? country that is not even up to 1/10 of these countries cannot even protect its borders from marauding terrorists. You know, so this is a concern that we should try to learn and try to deploy our capacities to address, not a forceful conscription. We are not in a war. We are in a form of war. It's asymmetrical. It's not a conventional warfare. So it's not about the number. It should be about intelligence. It should be about the technology. And then there is something again that I observed in talking about security. If I may digress a little, in the aftermath of the Nnamdi Kanu ruling this week, there have been a lot of apprehension that the security will break down in the southeast. In fact, there were a lot of deployment around his hometown, and then there were helicopters. I've been in contact because I just a few days ago I came back from the southeast, and I saw how peaceful the place is. I went through virtually all the state capital except Imo State and Ebonyi, and you see the helicopters were hovering, and there were no incidents. I think this is commendable. It's important that the security across the country should be managed well. But people are even saying, if Trump would come and help us, because there are concerns that there may be terrorists in the forest. That if Trump could come and strike the terrorists in the forest, in the southeast, people are welcoming it. They say, come and help us in the southeast. If others don't want, use your carpet drones to clear this forest for us so that we could go back to farms. So there is nothing to be afraid of if your conscience is clear. If you really want development, some of our arguments are saying that we are sympathizing with these people. We don't want a cancer, to be exercised from the system. We are saying, oh, it will affect this, it will do this, it will affect our ego. No, deal with it. So people are saying, because the problem in the Southeast from the onset was mismanaged. It was mismanaged both by the agitators and by the federal government, and everybody followed the utterance.
I apologize, Mr. I'm going to come in. I've raised my hand, and that's an indication for you to round up. And I don't think you have seen it. So I can pass the mic.
So sorry. I will just say that generally, the situation is a little bit calmer in the south, but in the north there appear to be a heightened security alert, and this is what we should deal with before it escalates and spreads. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful submission. Please, to the next speaker, those coming up, just keep your eyes on your phone if you have to do so. When I raise my hand, it's just an indication for you to wrap up, and we can pass the mic to the next person. So I will pass the mic to Olu. Sorry, OA, you have the mic. So the question is the same, right? If you want me to repeat the question, I'm quite happy to do so. If not, you have the mic, sir. I'm not sure there's a lady, please.
Good evening, everyone. I know the question, so I'll just answer it. The first one is that will the delegates be able to achieve anything? The answer is yes and no. Because the problem is still on the ground here. The problem is not outside of the country, is within the country. Because any military cooperation that is going to happen still requires the Nigerian element to be there. Then the first question is that is this administration being sabotaged? The answer is no. It is just, the way I'm going to phrase it is going to be very sensitive. So I'll just say it like this. It is the fruit of the alliances and the silence that he took that is bearing the reward for him now. It is not because he is not being sabotaged. And also, Mr. Abdullahi, the last speaker, to some extent, I've gave some background to some of the things you see next. So, in Southeast Asia, you get hanged for less. Like, just ordinary drugs across their border gets you hanged. I want to ask also a question on this space. How many terrorists have been hanged by the Nigerian government since 2009? Like, if you take just a weed of tobacco into other countries, you get armed. And you can kill 200 men, 200 civilians, unarmed civilians, and nobody gets justice, nobody gets armed. You can embezzle money that is meant for the national security of the country, and nobody gets armed. If you were to do that, just money that is meant to plant for food within a local community, you will get armed. So the question is not, everybody has been focused more on the military parts. The problem is the part of the enforcement that has gone missing. We have we have all of us are focused on the fact that it's the military kinetic action that is the problem. No, it is the fact that there is no discipline and there is no enforcement of rule and order. Really, like we have turned ourselves into a zoo where anything goes. And to be frank, it doesn't matter if the US cooperates with the Nigerian part because the informations and the intelligence are still going to get leaked, and nobody gets armed, nobody gets called to the order. There's no way, there's no discipline because that there needs to be a streamline within the government. So before we even begin to talk about anything, we need to first bring back the fact that the state has the monopoly of law, of monopoly of violence. That when you go against the state, it is within the right of the state to execute you and to reinforce the fact that it's only the state that can. The problem is that we now have a situation where people fear other states, and the fundamental foundation of what established a government is that the government is the only authority that can enforce violence over a place. So that is why you have people that are within the army, that are within that are just even civilians that are giving information and informants that become informants, even though involuntary informants, to terrorists because they fear the terrorists more than the government. You have people within the government that don't fear the government, they don't fear the reaction of the government if they find out. You know, it's one thing to be saying certain things in public, right? It's one thing to be doing certain things against the state. There are some crimes that you don't commit against the state. Like we've turned our national security to something that ordinary civilians are discussing on space. Like it is that. So the part of the military is not even the problem. It's a problem that there is no enforcement and there is no repercussion. That you can defend the state and there is no repercussion for it. No matter how high rank you are, the state comes first. You know, there are certain things that utterances that people make that we are going to change. For instance, you are saying that you are going to enforce Sharia law across the entire country. What you are essentially saying is that you are going to attack the constitution of Nigeria. That statement in itself, it goes against the fundamental position of the state. You cannot say something like that, and you're not declaring war on Nigeria. That's what it means, because for that to come to being, it means that we have to first remove the constitution that we currently have. So what is Nigeria without the constitution that we have to? So with some of these things that we are talking about, first, there's no enforcement. The last part of it, you don't need the fact that security is not about putting guns on the road. It's about that there's a feeling that there's a repercussion for something. That if you do something that is wrong, you are going to get hammered by it. And the rule of law is very supreme. So the fact that children are taken from school is because people don't get hard for some things that are, that's why people are comprehend. You know if you think about it. If ordinary food across the border in Taiwan will get you hanged, how would you dare to go to a school to kidnap just one child or two child? Talk less of killing two. You won't think about it because it will be unthinkable because the fear of the state is there. So that problem is another problem entirely that all of us are looking at. Then the military, we've come to make everybody is making excuse that the military is incapable. I'm sorry to say that is not true. The only way the Nigerian military can be capable of solving this problem is if there is no military history in Africa up to now, and they are negligent. And I'll give an instance. You see, the entire military history in Africa, right? We still have this same. We fought this problem before. In 18th century, they fought this problem before. The only difference between this war now today is that the horses have gone to bikes, and and the guns have turned to and the swords have turned to gun. That's entirely there's the entire thing. And what do? You immobilize this to move. You restrict it, including this or just big trenches, create narrow spaces that you can pass. So the fact that we are now talking here and we are talking about debate any longer about this, I'm just saying, as it is now, the problem still remains. The fear of the state is missing from everybody's mind. And we need to get back the fear of the state. That's enough for me.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. OA, for your submission. Mr. Baike, Roy, and I think those are access to the piece. There's an article that I've just posted out to you guys, perhaps when after the space. Maybe this is quite, I've not gone through it, but the caption is quite interesting. So perhaps if we have the time, we probably want to discuss that more, because it looks like that's where everything will head to, and maybe we would figure out what it's all about. So 227 children were kidnapped in the school today in Niger State, and a lot of people believe some persons are sabotaging Ahmed Tinubu's government. That's part of the conversation. And then not only in Niger State, we saw the one in Cape State as well. And the second part of the conversation is, do you think the delegate that have been sent to America will come up with anything? Some persons believe it's too late. Some persons believe, and maybe yes, at least it starts. Let's see what would happen. It will appear that America will come and help us, but most likely there's nothing to put on the ground. So I want us to center the topic and the conversation on these two mentioned. So if you want to respond, I'll pass the mic to you. And I know Mr. Olu, you have the mic. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Mike says thank you. Thank you for the immense effort you put the space for us to speak and share our thoughts. Okay, so you know me, I'm going to be very brief, straight to the point. Will we get boots on the ground? The era of putting boots on the ground willy-nilly is gone. That's not good, except of course there is a need to do so, a need for regime change, a need to occupy territory. But I don't think that's the underpinning what's behind what the White House is doing now. So we won't see boots on. If there's going to be anything intervention, it will be targeted. Right? They know who the people that are funding terrorism are. They can see the illicit flow of monies. So they know. We saw in recent times news articles flying around about people having been named as sponsors of terrorism. The Nigerian government did nothing about it. And of course, we know why they did nothing about it. We know, but we want to be politically correct. It's like we're working on eggshells. Only a few people have the cojones to speak the truth. Now, in terms of the increased rate of kidnappings of children and attacks, this is the same playbook that was used in 2014. Same playbook. We saw these people deploy the same tactic against the Jonathan regime, against Jonathan's government. We saw them do it. They're doing it again. Now, the people who did it there are the same people doing it now. And unfortunately, the person who is in Paso Rock at the minute cannot claim that he is oblivious to the actors that did this thing in 2014. Most have the 2015 election. He cannot claim to be oblivious to the people who are doing this. He knows who they are. He knows who they are. It was a playbook they used. It was on that side when they used that playbook. Now, the seats, they're using the same playbook. Yeah, and he wanted to be president. At every point, he said, "Look, he wanted this job, and given the job, he has a responsibility to deal with it." Now, the call is his to decide if getting a second term is more important than having a single term and having a solid legacy. It's a choice he's going to have to make by himself. And I do hope that he has people around him that are able to present the facts to him as they present. No dilution, no tiptoeing around it. Facts as they present for him to make the decision he wants to make. He's not guaranteed a second term. There is no guarantee. But he's there another 2 years. The only thing he's guaranteed is the fact that he had another 2 years, and he can either use those 2 years to cement his legacy as a president who was in situ and who made all the right decisions, not just the economic ones, but decisions around our security, decisions around keeping Nigerians safe. It is sad that we're here. It is very, very sad we're here. It is painful to see. It is painful. Every day you look, it's kidnappings. Every day you look, it is unnecessary killings. We claim to be a country, we claim to be brothers, but then some people have brothers outside of the brotherhood that is supposed to be Nigerian, and now have twisted people who are Nigerians alongside them, and they're willing to sacrifice Nigerian lives because their brothers from wherever are doing the things they're doing. Nobody's saying anything. Nobody's doing anything. We can't continue like this. Yorubas will say, what it means loosely is the fact that we're members of the same family does not mean you should come and, kill me or destroy my life because we're members of the same family. Because we're in the same country together does not give you the right to open the door to people that you're claiming are from elsewhere coming into that space that have indigenous people, that are landowners whose forebears have bequeathed land to, and they're sacking them, killing them, and taking their lives. It is there, right before our eyes. They know the people who are doing these things. They know them. They know how they're getting financed. They know how they're getting equipped with ammunition. They know. They know. They know. So it's either he wants to stand up and be counted, or he wants to sacrifice the entirety, everything he has worked for and everything he has built on this altar. He knows what he needs to do. And I hope he goes out and does the right thing. And if he doesn't, it's up to him. Take my one.
Thank you very much, Olu, for your wonderful submission. Olu's point is throwing the part that this is the same playbook of 2014, right? Prior to the 2015 election, where you saw a lot of a lot of killings, and especially the kidnapping of the Chibok girls. Now, a few days ago, we had the one in Kebbi State. This morning, yesterday, we had the one in Niger State. It's been reported that it's about 227 students were kidnapped in the Catholic Church in Niger State. 227. That's a lot of. The number is really high. This is based on the information out there, and it's quite a very difficult place for us to be as a country. Now, I'm listening to you saying that this is the same play, because a lot of people talk about this. And so, Rostas, is there a question or a response? Because I would like to pass the mic to another person. You raised your hands.
Yeah, I think it's just a quick response to what's his name? I think Haruna. I think he was saying something about United States cannot. I think he was very emphatic when he said that I put boots on the ground that they will never try it. I just want to remind him that in 2020, Philip Walton was abducted in Niger Republic and was taken to northern Nigeria. It takes perhaps about the SEAL team, the Special Forces of the United States, to rescue him without no U.S. service member being killed. So U.S. boots have been on the ground in Nigeria, and nothing happened. They came in, they did a surgical operation, rescued this U.S. citizen, Philip Walton, and they went out. So if the U.S. wants to come into Nigeria to put boots on the ground, nothing is going to stop it. It takes just one brigade of special forces to come, and I give them 1 week, Boko Haram or whatever terrorists you call them, they'll be a thing of the past. But what do U.S. stand to gain if they come into Nigeria to help Nigeria with its security problems? That's the answer. Is a question that everybody need to be, perhaps maybe asking. Well, what do we need to? What do they stand to gain? Nothing. A lot of people talk about resources and all that. No, I mean the U.S. proxies, Chevron shells, and all of that. They've been pillaging Nigeria. They've been exploiting Nigerians for decades, and nobody's doing anything about it. So what are we talking about? So they've been taking advantage of Nigeria for a very long time. So they're not coming now to say, hey, we want to take your oil or your minerals, and that's why we want to invade Nigeria. So I just want to kind of dissuade or disabuse the minds of people that feel that the U.S. forces can't come into Nigeria. If they want to come, they will come. They will do a very clean job and they will leave. What happens after that? So that's where I'm going to drop land my plane. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your response to Haruna. Before I pass the mic to Justice, let me hear from Mr. Baiki.
Thank you very much, Mindset. I want to address something the last speaker addressed to Haruna. Knowledge and understanding of international operations and co means a lot. One of the major problems we have is we sit in our box and indoctrinate ourselves with ideas and thoughts. I am involved in the State Department. I am involved in the Pentagon, at least. So the issue of America coming is just not there. They can come on a special order, and it has to be cleared by your own country. Article 1, Section 8 of the American Constitution, it makes it very, very clear. Go and have a look at Article 1, Section 8 of the American Constitution. It is only the Congress that has the rights and the powers to declare war on another nation, not Trump. For the fact that Trump made a pronouncement, please, it's not a sermon that you must obey. No, it's only in the church and in the mosque that you listen to sermons, and it's the cardinal truth, it's the gospel truth that you hold on. For the fact that Trump just made that pronouncement, go and prepare for war. No way. It has to be Congress. And Congress has to approve, because it involves a lot of things. So please, let's understand, let's educate ourselves that it is not done like that. There is a procedure. And then when you say what they did in Libya, what they did this, what they did in Bahrain, are there terrorists in Bahrain today? What they are doing in Saudi Arabia, can any terrorists go to Saudi Arabia? What they are doing in Qatar, can any terrorists enter Qatar? What they are doing in Jordan, can any terrorists enter Jordan? They're all there in these countries. So when you look at the negatives, look at the positives. Because a coin has two sides. A coin has two sides. Look at both sides. The development in the UAE and Middle East today is 99% America. The engineers, 99% America. So what are we talking about? Because of Libya, there was a problem. There was an issue in Libya. It wasn't even America to start with. Is it Iraq? They have a base in Iraq. So they have base in Saudi Arabia. They have base in Qatar. They have base in Kuwait. They have base in UAE. They have in Jordan. They have in Syria. So what are we talking about? So what has happened to Saudi Arabia because Americans have a base there? So please, let's be very objective, honest, and broad. Let's not limit ourselves to just what we hear on our own media and what we discuss in our offices or in our cold corners. No. Thank you very much, my sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Baiki, for your submission. Okay, Haruna, you raised your hand. I know you would like to respond to Mr. Baiki and Rote. Please, you have the mic, sir.
You know, nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. All of us were here to dissect issues and talk. What happened? We can see what happened in what's the name of this country that Israel just bombed. At least they have drones, they have bases there. But Israel took out Hamas in that country and pierced through their airspace. They have security pact. So saying that America have a base is no any reason. Don't they have here in the Republic? They have in the Republic one, and then France have 2 drone bases there. What happened? Have they intel there? Have they shared their intelligence to make sure that we curtail these excesses? Now, the speaker mentioned about the American guy. He's an asset for America. They kidnapped him in Niger. They moved him into the Sokoto area, and then they in. If he doesn't know the quantum of money America spent, they have to fly from Germany, from Netherlands. They took off 3 airports. They had over 11 aeroplanes in the air, and they dropped them about maybe 10 or 11 kilometers. They went, they picked the guy, they knocked off the terrorists, they picked the guy, then they zoom off. Go on to partially left the country before we know it. So nobody is denying that fact. But at what cost? What is he's an asset? He's not just a citizen, he's an asset to the US. And he has been gathering information between Nigeria and Niger border. Everybody that knows what the guy is to them. So when they come and took their asset, what is that? We have different nomenclature problems. Okay, now the Lakurawas are there, the terrorists, the different terrorists are there, the Boko Haram are there. We have the infiltration of all these things. Like I've said, this problem, we have 3 facets of this problem. We have the political bandits, we have the international bandits, and we have the criminal bandits. So how do we dissect this? This offers solutions to these issues. That is what is our problem. We in the North, we know what we're suffering with this banditry. How do we get rid of this banditry?
Thank you very much, Haruna. Mr. Baika, I know you would like to respond quickly. Please let me address the House. For some reason today, it would appear that we're having some network challenges. A lot of persons who were on the spaces have been dropped for some reason. I was kicked out on the spaces, the first spaces we started with. So please bear with me. I do not know what else I can do. But if you're requesting for the mic, can you indicate on the comment section that you're requesting for the mic, and I'll see what I can do. Fortunately, even my co-host tonight has been kicked out for some reason. I do not know why. So before Mr. Baiki responds to Haruna, Justice, you have the mic. I can repeat the question, but if you want to continue from there, you have the mic.
Yeah, please repeat. Yeah, thank you. Please repeat the question again.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. So there are a lot of persons who believe that the present government is being sabotaged, right? That it's a playbook of what transpired in 2014 against Goodluck Jonathan. That's one part of the question. And the second side of the question is, we have seen the delegates. Actually, we saw the NSA. It would appear they had a meeting with the Mr. Heckfeld, the Secretary of War. What do you make of it, sir?
Thank you very much again, Mindset, for giving us the platform to talk about the things that basically concerns us. That is in no form a very great commendable way of patriotism to your own country. So having said that, to your first question, you see, mindset, let's not kid ourselves. The primary duty, the fundamental duty, the foundational duty of a president, in fact, for which you were even sworn in, is to protect the lives and property of the citizens that are under your watch. So when you have this as the primary duty, there is nothing like sabotage on, your security situation. It is why are you the commander in chief? Why are you the commander in chief? You command the Air Force, you command the Army, you command the Navy, you command the police, you command immigration, you command the customs, everything force to make people conform to the rule of law, to conform to the constitution and the laws that govern your government. So whether it was Jonathan's time, Buhari's time, or now Tinubu's time, there is absolutely no basis for the government to shift this kind of nonsense, hopeless blame game about being jeopardized security-wise. So I do not accept that. You see, mindset, in Nigeria, we always, APC playbook is always about shifting blame. They don't want to take responsibility for anything. If the president cannot secure the citizens that he has governed, and he has allowed insecurity to run wild and to go rogue the way it has gone, would it be mindset's responsibility? Is it just his responsibility to take care of citizens' lives, precious lives and property? Why is it that Donald Trump saw maybe Pastor Machombo cry out from the mass grave, and he intervened? Are you saying that if this type of thing happens in the US, that the US president will not intervene, and he will just be blaming the people that are in fact, you are president for anybody to perhaps use security to mess up your government? But you have to show that strength in leadership by saying, no, I have to put my foot to the ground and make sure that security is not compromised under my watch. I said, except for this security situation, this man would have been in St. Lucia or in France or in Germany or just anywhere. In fact, he was even headed to South Africa. Before, of course, a very few reasonable people in his government, canceled him against that. He would have been, lounging in South Africa, talking nonsense in a G20 summit that he has nothing there to contribute that is meaningful to either Nigerians or the global community. So I don't want anybody to come here and gaslight us about, the opposition is, they are regrouping again, but insecurity is his pressing need. And if he was able to solve it, Nigerians will clap for him. I said that's number one. Now, the second question you asked is, I think it's rather late. Like I said, joining it again with my first response on this security issue is a serious government would have engaged, continually engaged the US before it went out of hand. Now it has gone out of hand. Like the horse has left the stable. The ship has set sail already. Okay? So what they are trying to do now, in my own opinion, is medicine after death. First of all, I do not know on which capacity Nuhu Ribadu is in the US for. Nuhu Ribadu, for the best we know, is a police officer, a retired police officer, so he's a civilian. He doesn't have much of credible military intelligence professionally. Probably doesn't have much. Okay? Now, who did he go with? And what were they discussing? If he's leading such a delegation on security formations and architecture, you see where Nigeria is falling short. Then if he's also leading it from the position of diplomacy, who are the diplomatic materials, intelligent brains in that envoy to the US? Okay? And then upon all of that, myself, what blows my mind and makes me go crazy is that for every U.S. intervention and talk about insecurity in Nigeria, it looks like the people that are even perpetrating this are pouring even more fuel. Since yesterday that we had the U.S. Congress deliberate and put people on the positions to make statements of what's going on, we have had 2 or 3 more terror attacks, kidnappings of young children in school. So it looks like they are basically daring the United States government to intervene. The serious government will not allow any other terror attack. They will have to do whatever it takes to stop, this proliferation of attacks. But they have not done that. Mindset, I can assure you, tomorrow you will see another place where these terrorists have run amok and they have killed people and probably abducted people. Okay? So, for me, I see your hand. It's medicine after death. There's nothing these guys can do. Now, I am of the opinion that as anybody, again, let me say this, anybody who does not think that the US has Nigeria's geographical location mapped out, studying these terrorists and how they are operating, even though the Azu came here and said there is a possibility that these terrorists, they are theories, conspiracy theories, right? That they are taking these students now as a probably human shields, just like we are seeing in Gaza with the hopeless terrorists for Hamas. So that can even change the U.S. Foreign mission for Nigeria's intervention, military intervention. They might decide, oh, well, we are probably thinking of doing area bombardments to wipe these terrorists and degrade them, like I keep saying. But now, the facts on the ground have changed. We are now having to put boots on the ground. Instead, let us remember that the fundamental reason why Nigerians are calling for Nigerians of goodwill, not these terrorist sympathizers, that are calling for U.S. to intervene militarily in this situation is because our Nigerian government has failed. They have failed to do their primary responsibility of taking care of citizens, the lives and property of citizens. And where they have failed, and it looks like they are compromised, we have jihadists in the government, then we will have to call the international community to help us. It is as simple as that. So if the U.S. finds out now that area bombardment is no longer possible, then we'll have to put boots on the ground. Put those boots on the ground and take these criminals to hell. That's what we need to do, mindset, to clear Nigeria of terrorism before Nigeria becomes Afghanistan, before these guys run south and put the Quran in the Atlantic that they have claimed. Thank you very much. I hit the mic.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Justice, for your submission. If you disagree with Mr. Justice, please, you can raise your hand and tell us the reason you disagree with him. For some reason tonight, we are struggling with, bringing people up. Have a co-host. The co-host was kicked out for some reason, like I was kicked out earlier. And Mr. Justice, you said something I wanted to react to. And we talked about Nuhu Ribadu, on what capacity is in the United States. Yes, he's the National Security Advisor, so he has the capacity. He was a former police officer, right? Perhaps you might think that he shouldn't be appointed as the NS, but it's very important that we address this, right? He has the capacity as the National Security Advisor to be in the United States and then discuss with his counterparts and others that can help Nigeria. So he has the capacity. I want us to put that out there, but I do understand that a lot of people believe that even though he's been given that position, he's been appointed, he doesn't merit it, right? We should have gone for somebody else, but he has the capacity as he's been appointed as the National Security Advisor. Now, 47 schools have been closed. We do not know how many schools will be closed more. If there are going to be more schools that will be closed, but as it stands right now, 47 schools have been closed in Nigeria as it stands right now. But you said something that is very, very interesting, and I'm hoping that it will not happen. You said maybe tomorrow we'll see more of this. That is where we are. We don't know where these guys will strike. And then you said something else that you made reference to what Mr. Azu said earlier on, that it appeared that these guys wanted to use these students to shield themselves. So that's quite an interesting take. I wanted to ask Mr. Baiki because he knows better than myself. He works with some of the agencies in America, so he's the one person that I believe will give us the clarity of what's going on. So, Mr. Baiki, I have a question for you, sir. After listening to what Mr. Justice said and Mr. Azu said, do you think if indeed America wanted to strike, they want to put foot on the ground, and looking at it from a security angle, and they realize that these criminals have kidnapped these students just to see them. So do you think that would mean for them putting boots on the ground? Do you see that happening?
Okay, I want us to go back. Boots on the ground can only be possible in terms of an operation. An operation is not a war. And in my earlier statement, I said they are not going to put boots on the ground except for an operation. When the Chibok girls were kidnapped, America offered to help rescue them. That is an operation. Before these same people kick back and ensure that Jonathan didn't do that. That's an operation. There are two different things: war, invasion, operations. They are very different things. They are not the same. They are not the same. So, in terms of having an operation or running an operation, it is possible, because an operation is what you do and then you extract yourself out. That's an operation. But an invasion is you are there to stay or to take over. Whereas a war is you are fighting over what you call no man's land. So that's a war. So it's an operation to happen. That's a fact, but not war. Not war, because they are not occupying any land here. I want to as well address one or two things that Haruna raised. Well, you are right that no man has monopoly of knowledge. So it is that not all men have monopoly of understanding. There are two different things. When you are involved with something, you have an insight. When you are not involved, you hear. As your comparison to what happened in Gaza is because Hamas is a terrorist organization. So, and the same terrorist organization was had human shields. They were operating in hospitals. They were operating in schools. And in any case, you will not agree with me, but the entire military supported that operation. They supported it. Do you think that Israel has that amount of money to sustain itself on this kind of operation for 2 years, 3 years? Almost, they don't. The money came from the same Middle East. Even America will not put our money in that. Anything you see that has happened was sponsored by Arabs. Quote me. It was sponsored by Arabs. And so this is as well international, they're not local. So I'm not saying I know everything, but we understand this. We're involved. I mean, when in the military, when you go to staff college, these are the things you do. You learn these things, you understand them. So it's not a question of it's no. And then we ask questions. We go for trainings too. So that is it. So mindset, I yield.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Franklin, for your response. Now, you did say something about operation, and you talked about the difference between operation and war, and that means if there's an operation, that doesn't mean that they're coming to fight us, they're coming to invent us. Now, I have a question for you. This operation, is this something that we can invite them, or do we need to invite them, or can they invite themselves and say, we're coming here to, do this? We have to invite them if we're going to use the word operation, not war.
The extraction of the American farmer who was a Nigerian farmer who was smuggled into Nigeria by terrorists is an operation. It's an operation. So, and they didn't come just like that. They came with full knowledge of Nigerian forces, full knowledge of Nigerian government. That's an operation. So immediately they finished, they extracted themselves. They left. So that's not a war. A war is what is happening between today, let's say Ukraine and Russia. It's all about adjusting boundaries. That's a war. So there is a particular boundary that this one wants to shift, this one is not allowing the other to shift. And that is where what we call in war, that's no man's land. Which land are they coming to occupy here? Which land are they fighting for? Yeah. Thank you very much. That's it.
All right, thank you very much. So if we, that means they have to collaborate with our military or security forces.
First and foremost, it has the operational plan must be tabled. It must be safe. It must be agreed upon, and it must have a time frame. The war doesn't have a time frame.
So what happens if the Nigerian government is not willing to, work with them with this operation? What happens next? Or are they going to solve themselves to say, okay, even if you don't want to work with us, we're still going to come in?
It is not Americans that are dying. It's Nigerians. So it's to your tent, or Israel. Americans are not dying. If they give you an operational order and an operational plan, and you don't want it, you say you won't accept it. So be it. It's their money they use to come. It's not yours.
So in other words, all these things that President Donald Trump was saying, we're going to come in and it's going to be swift and all these things. So if the Nigerian government say, we don't need your help and we don't want you anywhere. Sorry, if I may answer, thank you. So if the Nigerian, thank you, sir. If the Nigerian government says we don't need your help, we are fine, we can handle this by ourselves and everything. So the Nigerian Christians who have been calling on Donald Trump and Donald Trump made a promise that if nothing was done, if nothing has been done, that they has to come in, would just say, okay, since your government said they don't want us to come in, whatever happens to you, let the killing continue. Is that what the situation is?
Okay, let me enlighten us on something. First and foremost, there is silence from Britain, there is silence from the European Union. Why do you think there is silence? Why do you think they are not? None of them have challenged Trump over his statements. They are involved. They want this to happen. They want this terrorist to be overrun. They want it. And Britain is has her own challenges. The entire Europe has her own challenges. So they need a big Sam. Somebody to make a comment, and he has done it. So they don't just come out like that and talk. They consult. Look, before we release silent slaughter, before we released it, we had to sit for 3 days with the African desk of the Commonwealth. Because it was an American project, it was in America we put our data together. Before we got the support of the State Department to put Nigeria on CPC, we had to sit with African desk of the Commonwealth. So things don't just happen like that. The diplomacy and it involves them. They're all involved. So the silence of Britain to hear America wanting to come into our colony, it has been discussed.
Right, thank you very much. Thank you, sir. I think I've just posted something on the Jumbotron. I'm not sure if you're showing. I've seen a tweet by the Italian Prime Minister making reference to the kidnapping of students. So that's where we are at this point. So any other person that will have a question or contribution, we have to make the best of the persons we have on the comments on the speaker section. Those requesting for the mic, please. I can see 8 persons requesting for the mic. Please try and see if you can leave the platform and rejoin. Hopefully that would help, or you can put a comment on the comment section. Today is just been one of those days that I do not know what else to do to bring people up. Okay, Mr. Alzo, do you have a question or a contribution, sir?
So thank you so much. I just want to add to what Mr. Becky said in relation to your question, that can America interfere uninvited? I just want to say that the senator, the congressman, Riley Moore, was asked the same question on Fox this week. What would America do to another sovereign country? And he did make it clear then that the United States has an obligation based on its status in the world to preserve fundamental rights, especially freedom of religion and sanctity of human life anywhere in the world. Do not forget that America's arrival on the world stage, first of all, with the moral doctrine of the 1800s, and then the subsequent policies, the isolationism of Woodrow Wilson, and then when Harold, what's his name, in 1956, when he now entered the policy of the isolationism and then the global interference policies of the 1950s, which led it to the various wars that he fought, entering Europe for the Second World War, and then going to Vietnam and the rest. So America on his own had been the policeman. In fact, the world has even become more unipolar than it was in the 1940s when there was a Cold War with United USSR and the USA. That's a communist and the capitalist bloc. So now it's almost a unipolar world. Russia is not that influential. China is coming up, but it's not as influential as the United States. So the United States remains the policeman of the world. So there is nothing unusual if the United States sights something happening and decide to interfere. And do not forget that the sanctions they've threatened, they have this option of sanction as well. If it happens, all the officials that will be indicted in Nigeria will also be indicted by Mr. Becky also alluded to that most of the European powers will control whatever United States will do, whatever action it takes. So if they ban Nigeria in most of Nigeria is a country of particular concern already. So that means there'll be much searches across Europe and even in the Middle East and in Asia. They will search you more. They will monitor your movement of capital and cash and all that. So these are enough hiccups to Nigeria's free movement globally. So if they decide to interfere, they will also get international support. So that not all the optics are good for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azu, for your submission. Mr. Bike, I can see you raising your hand. Please bear with me for a minute. Mr. Justice, sorry, Mr. Azu said something about somebody's mic is on, please. Mr. Bike, can you please mute your mic for a minute? Thank you. Mr. Azu said something about China. It's not there yet. America is the policeman of the world and everything. So there's an article that been published by Foreign Policy. I've sent it to quite a number of persons. Mr. Baiki, Haruna, Roy, those who have access to their DM, I've sent them to you guys. Have you guys seen the article by Foreign Policy? Okay, thank you. So it's quite a very interesting one. I'm just trying to see if I can get something from it. The headline said, Trump's threats reveal a deepening contest between Washington and Beijing for the allegiance of Africa's most populous country. That's going to be a very interesting review. I'm going to put it on a jumbo track. I want us to, most people on this platform, go and read this document. Sorry, go read this article. If we're going to have a space tonight or tomorrow morning, depending when we're going to awake, it'll be one of those topics I would like us to look into. So I'm just going to try and see if I can put on the jumbotron. Justice, you raise your hand, please. Go ahead.
Yes. Sorry, mindset. I wanted to say that, you see, the international community seems to be fully engaged now with the Nigerian situation, because as you can see, the terrorism is not stopping. You know, leaders after leaders are coming in now, they are lending their voices. It has become a global issue. And for those who think that, oh, the opposition or some people are, trying to bring down the Bola Tinubu government, which essentially, with security, which essentially should be his responsibility, I don't even see the fact that the Bola Tinubu government has actually failed by not ensuring security, which was his primary responsibility. So it's going completely global. But the issue, like I said before, is, you see, the government is not finding it easy trying to stop further abductions, further killings. I expected that I would see a government that is very, very reactive, because they weren't proactive. Now they have to be very reactive, pull in every security they can get. Police, I even expected that the president could say, okay, I'm shutting down all the borders just like he has shut down unity schools. Close down all the borders. Let's even know what is going on. Now, pull out, VIP security agents with most of these elites, because there's a shortfall. These are short-term decisions he can make. Reassign them, make places of public gathering, highly secured. Myself, I'll give you an example. In the place where I am, you have, this large amount of Jews. Okay, Myself, you won't believe, October 7th, police was patrolling those areas every 1 hour, because everybody knows what happened in October 7th. So there were fears that there could be reprisal attacks, on the same Jews again, in remembrance of what happened in Gaza, in Israel. Okay, now this is how government should react when you have an imploding security situation. But what do we have? The so-called Minister of Defense is saying if these terrorists lay down their arms, they'll be given 2 cows. That's what I saw on one of the print media. 2 cows. So they are still pandering, they are still romancing terrorists. We have not seen or heard of any arrest. We're not seeing terrorists being killed. Right? There's basically just social media gaslighting and trying to turn the narrative of something the global community is already seen as the massive, disproportionate killing and targeting of a particular tribe, a particular group of Nigerians, simply because of their faith. That is my concern. And then you send some people, in my opinion, that are not really qualified to go talk about our national security, to the US, when it's already late. It is already late. So I don't see any gains from this further waste of time and resources. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. I really like your submission, and I like the fact that you mentioned the fact that you mentioned that our security is, we do not have enough numbers, and you mentioned something akin to giving these VIPs, those so-called VIP security, to look after them and everything. You talked about where you are, being 7th of October, always police running around for an hour. I think one thing that the government can do, one of the things they should do is, because we don't have enough. I don't know how many persons we have in the military and the police and everything, but you will see one big man, as we call them, with 4, 5, 6 mobile policemen around here. Now ask yourself a question: how many do we have? Right? So hopefully, the government will look into this, and if they're serious about it, I'm not saying those big men or big women, as they're called, should not be, should not have security. One can, get private security, but at this point, schools are not safe. No one is safe. We don't know. Churches are not safe. We saw what happened in a church in Kwara State, right? Now, I think it's very important for the government to tell the IG, I need to do something about it. We need more hands, and we cannot at this point, allow our policemen and security men to turn to gate men and carrying back for people. I think that is not acceptable. That should stop. At this point, the government needs to take this in serious. We must secure the lives of every Nigerian. Thank you very much, Justice, for your submission. Before I go back to Mr. Bike, a lot of people on my DM saying that they are requesting for the mic. Tonight is different. I do not know what happened. I'm not able to bring anybody up. My co-host has been kicked out. I'm just managing the persons on the speaker, so you have to bear with me for tonight. But if you're still on the spaces, request put a comment in the comment section. Perhaps by luck, I might be able to bring you up. Haruna, you have the mic, sir. Haruna, you have the mic, sir. Mr. Bike, can you hear me? Roy.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you myself.
Okay, it appears Haruna.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you myself.
Okay, it appears Haruna is not responding. So I think I saw him raise his hand. Yes, please, sir. You raise your hand. Please go ahead, sir.
I said, is it Haruna or Roy?
Haruna, Haruna.
Okay. Mine said, saw the post. 3 days ago, the Foreign Affairs, this Secretary or Minister, Foreign Affairs of China was on a space that was on a platform, and they were asking him about this threat of America, and he outrightly pointed out that the United States is not a threat to China, and that if to China, and if they think they are a threat, let them come out and test it, that China is superpower of the world now, not United States. And this your post, like what we've discussed 3 or 4 days ago, that is going to be a proxy war. Africa is going to be a proxy war. And we discussed about this issue on your space and look at what we have to do. And it's kind of sync with what we're saying, that there's a political angle and there's an international angle to this our insecurity problem. And I think this is giving us a good point of so that we should know how to address the issue.
Oh, thank you very much, Haruna. The article was not written by myself. It was written by Mr. Patrick, right? So it's not my article. I'm just sending it to you guys to read. So it's one of those things that we discuss on this platform, and it's very interesting that Mr. Patrick have written an article about it. I've not read it. I would do so as soon as we finish this spaces. Then I'll take my time to read it. I'm trying to put it on the Jumbotron. Is it on the Jumbotron? Do you guys have anything on the Jumbotron?
Yes, we have Trump press reveal a deepening contest between Washington and Beijing. Is that the one you're talking about, sir?
No, I posted something. See, that tells you guys that we have a problem. I posted this twice. Let me see if I can try again. This article, I want us to. Okay, I found that again. I posted it on the Jumbotron, and for some reason, it appears that it's not coming up. All right.
I think the article is on the Jumbotron.
John?
Foreign policy article.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much.
It's on the Jumbotron.
Thank you very much. So, please, guys, if you can, go through read the article. We're going to discuss that as well. We've discussed it already before, but the foreign policy have written about it. So read it. We're going to talk more about it. Okay. Okay, how are you able to come up as a speaker? That's quite interesting. You have the mic, so you know what the question is, right? Or you want me to repeat myself?
You can repeat yourself, but I think I don't know. I requested the mic and I got pulled up. I don't know how. But I was going to talk about two things specifically. Not two things. I was going to pass on two things. The first one you talked about withdrawing security men from individuals. I think it's high time, but in that itself, it's not just even only the police. It has gone as far as people now having DSS. People having naval ratings. You see there's this particular gun that naval officers use, and I think the DSS. I think it's only the police don't use it. You see people going around town now. Some even have as much as 8, 9, 10, those guns. But again, there's a bigger problem there, and the bigger problem there is that it's almost a racket in the sense that not all of it is official. You have superiors who, allocate or issue out, I don't know the word now, allocate officers to people, and the officers who are looking for those types of jobs, because one, it's you pay them extra, You pay to the guy who gives you the policeman or the naval man or the TSS, and then you pay to the police officer. So it's more like it's that's aside what the government gives them. So it's like double income, and it's a less more it's more of a status job. It's less tedious. They don't do much of combat. So it's a racket, and I don't know how we're going to solve it. I don't know, because even the officers themselves, they want to do it. It's that bad that if you want to travel from Lagos to say Ibadan for a weekend, you can walk in. If you know someone, they will give you a policeman who's supposed to be on another duty. You get the AK from the armory. He goes with you, and then when you come back, maybe you give him like 70, 100K. The man who gave you the guy, you give him maybe another 50K. It's a deep racket. And how we're going to solve it, I don't know. Because what I would think is that you would have thought that even before now, like IGs and the NCDC, you would have thought that this is an opportunity in a country where there are no jobs. Right? Private security would have been. I can guarantee you that is at least 100,000 jobs in terms of private security. You know how the Americans in America, you have all the big celebrities, they have the bodyguards, they have the private security. It's like a job that you can get maybe like, if 100,000 is a lot, maybe like 40, 50,000 people doing that type of job. That's one. And the other one that we talked about China being a superpower and that America is not. I think that it would be foolhardy to think that China is a superpower or China is now the big brother of the world. To be the big brother of the world, it takes a whole lot of intentionality and the amount of work that America has done around the world. I don't think China has done. China is not there yet. And now you ask a question: does China really want to go head to head with America over military in Nigeria? I don't think so, because you know for sure that where America goes, practically he drags the whole of Europe. Practically he drags almost and like 1/3 of Asia. I don't see where China has that leverage with all of those people. I don't see that. But again, another thing that I wanted to discuss is, if you watch the congressional hearing, I think Riley was. I think he was very clear. I don't know if he was asleep, but if you watch it clearly, you could tell that from what Riley was saying, Congressman Riley, there's going to be some sort of military intervention in Nigeria. At what level, I don't know, because he said some. It was a very quick one. It was like, even though the intervention will not, it was like, it's not going to be the only option, but it was almost a certain, the way he put it, that you would know that's on the table. Where it will now happen, whether it's going to be in the northeast, whether it's going to be in the northwest or in the north central, we don't know. And to what extent, we don't know. But from his body language and at least from what I deduced, you
Sorry, have we lost him? Have we lost Miss out there? All right. Tonight is very. Can anyone hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. I said it appears we've lost Mr. Big. Has he finished with his submission? Can somebody please? All right, it dropped off. Sorry, it probably might be from whatever is going on tonight. It's quite a very interesting night. Only myself, Roy, Haruna, Mr. Azan, Justice. we're going to continue the conversation with those on the speaker section. For that, please, if you're not able to come up or as a speaker for tonight, or for somebody tonight, please put a comment. You can make a submission on the comment section, and I will try and read it out. I can see 15 persons requested for the mic, and I wish there's something I can do about it. Unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing I can do. But let's see what else. So, Haruna, Vicky, Justice, and Azu, do you guys have any other thing to add? If not, we're going to call it a day and see why we're having this problem tonight. Sorry, no one is responding. Nobody's saying anything. Okay. Wow, Big Sam is back. Big Sam, you're back as a co-host, right?
Yes, I said.
Wow, that's all right, guys. Big Sam is here. He's going to bring as many people as possible to be part of the conversation. That's a good thing. And let's see, who else do we have here? Do we have any speaker? Okay, Wake Up Africa, you have the mic. You know what the question is, or you want me to repeat myself? I'm quite happy to do so.
Yeah, you can repeat yourself. Mine said it's okay.
Thank you very much. So there's quite a number of persons who believe that this whole thing going on right now is a sabotage against Bola Tinubu's administration, especially to do, the issue of kidnapping in schools. Some persons believe that we are going back to what happened in 2014 with the Goodluck Jonathan and the keyboard girls. And the second part of the conversation, of the question is, looking at what's happened in America and the delegate that was sent, there was a statement or a tweet by the Secretary of War saying that he met with the NS in Nihil. What do you make of it? Do you think anything will come out of it, or do you think, this time bad already, there's nothing that will come out of it? So you have the mic, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mindset. So your questions are in two parts. First, if these people trying to sabotage Tinubu's government's kidnapping or repeat of what happened, to be honest with you, all these things, in my opinion, is just distractions and just sheer propaganda. The fact of the matter is, right, and Nigerians being killed, Nigerians are being killed. Right. Then what is the government doing as regards to its primary purpose, which is to protect life and properties? They're not doing nothing. Maybe anybody can point me at. Let us even just start from when Trump made his statement to say they were going to come, go after. Because I think there is a bit of misconceptions in where I hear people making, this insertion as though America or Trump or anybody within his cabinet has said that America wants to invade Nigeria as a whole. I think there is some misconception there. They said they're going to go after these killers, and that is one. Now, since after that particular statement has been made by Trump, tell me if I'm wrong. What exactly has the current APC government or Tinubu government done that it's obvious for everyone to see that, oh, come on, look at what these guys are doing as regards to taming this particular situation? Don't Nigeria have military anymore? What happened to even this $1,000 to $2,000 drones that they can use to find where these people are from? I mean, to be honest with you, I think all those are just sheer propaganda and, trying to look for something to blame or trying to, I don't know, misrepresent the facts. If the government feels or actually understands what is going on, or even have any kind of form of regard for its citizens, it will drop every single thing that it's doing and focus on results, focus on trying to do everything within its primary responsibility to make sure that life and properties is protected. I mean, to be honest, there's no government that would, achieve 100% results. But we want to see commitment. And that is what people want to see. I am not going to play. I mean, I'm not going to join this bandwagon of people trying to get at him or trying to, do something to, I don't know, to dent the government. No, I think for me, my personal opinion, I think that is all, around nonsense, because the government are not being seen as doing anything to stop this. There is also no doubt that the military in Nigeria is compromised. There is no doubt about that. And then what is left? Nothing. And then to come to your second question as regards to what would come out of what Nehru Dubatu and the other people going to America to meet. And one thing I must say is that they didn't go to America to meet their counterparts. Somebody correct me if Nehru Dubatu and his team have made his equivalent in America, or any other person who has gone with him have been able to meet with their equivalent in America. And I am of this opinion. Look, I think sometimes we do overrate Nigeria. Nigeria is not in that, in that pedestal or in that, level where if you talk about America, you slide in Nigeria in there. So sometimes we need to take our position where we belong. America can come to Nigeria if they want to, without the consent of Tinubu and his government, and there is nothing they can do about it. What can they really do? Nothing. But the truth of the matter is that, in my opinion, I don't see this government doing anything in this regard. What they're trying to buy time to see if this thing can die down and everything continues as normal. And then what they would then do is to say, oh, now you people went to report us to America, and then what happens after? And then they start going after people who they feel was against them. I don't see anything coming out of it. I have to be honest with you, myself. All this are it's just too little, too late. And there is no sign of seriousness in it. You see? I mean, I am of the opinion that if Nigeria carries such weight, in America, they will not go to America, and it will be this this man that is Trump has appointed as the head of that War Department or something that that they went to meet, that they're going to be meeting. No, I don't think so. I think it's not going to amount. It's going to amount to nothing, to be honest with you. And the government is doing nothing to curb this. And this cycle is going to continue until maybe America decides to say, look, you know what, we've had enough. Since we've told you to do something you're not doing, now we're going to step in. Or they're just going to allow it to die down, and then propaganda will start again. Thank you, myself. That's just what I want to say for now. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So I know a lot of people are complaining that they have not met their counterpart and everything, but meeting the Secretary of War is not something that anyone can just go into Pentagon and have a meeting. Mr. Baiki was saying it wasn't really a meeting, but Nehru Badri NSA was in Pentagon and he met with these guys. So even if that meeting was for a minute or two, the thing here is they had a meeting, right? We don't know what would have tomorrow. Unless tomorrow we'll see some a statement or tweet or what have you of what transpired or other people that have met and everything. So we cannot conclude. But I do not think it would be fair to say that they have not really met anyone of significant rights. Meeting the Secretary of War is something that one cannot just say it's nothing, right? And but somebody just said something to me, right? That's an intro. A statement by Gani Adams. He's saying that the insecurity by these terrorists, something that everybody have to be very mindful. And you mentioned that they are, what's going on in Kogi State, Para State, that it would appear that they are targeting to come into the southwest. You mentioned that Oyo, Ekiti, Ondo, and Lagos State. Based on the information available to him, this appears to be the next target. Right? This is not myself saying, please. I'm telling you guys what Gani Adams said, that it would appear that these terrorists are targeting to move into the southwest, right? So everybody, this is not to put anybody into panic. Please, you can go and verify what I've said. It's not me saying you're just going to be alert. You're just going to be very mindful. We have a country, as it stands right now, that's the only country we have today. Until we decided we don't want to be a country again. But we cannot allow these terrorists to run riot and just cool our hands. I mean, the government needs to sit up and do what they need to do to protect lives and properties. So on that note, I'll pass the mic to Mr. DG. Mr. DG, you have the mic. Good evening and thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, or rather, it's good morning, myself and everyone speaking. Yeah, I've been listening and it's been great listening. I've been cracking my brain to see how I can meaningfully contribute to the conversation. Yeah, like I put it down there in the chat section to say that I think we are looking at the problem from as if it is just starting today also. One thing I've looked at is that there has been a trend of a kind of large volume corruption within the Nigerian security architecture, left, right, center, and which would be responsible for why our military or security agencies are not performing. And I'm sure it's obvious that they are poorly equipped. Okay, so and that should be responsible for why they are not performing. Now, just look at this calculation simply. For any terrorist to come and move out over 200 persons, can you imagine what you require? Just like what happened in the 2014 Chibok girls saga. How could anybody? How many people do you think are needed to convey for the logistics of these people? And just imagine the terrain where the school is located. How would they possibly? How long will it take them? I think I don't even need to maybe round off all the questions that should be asked as to why. And I think someone also said there's a military barrack close to the school. So if you look at if you raise all the questions, none would even make sense to justify that these people should escape. Where are the drones? Where are the quick military responses? Why are all the questions you'll ask? None will possibly be answered, with the most common sense answer. So, and that's one. So we can look at it. There is a deep corruption within the military setting. I've just done one reading to find that right now, the head of the logistics of the Nigerian military is facing, allegations of corruption, and just that's this year even. It's a case now ongoing. I think the petition has been filed, and then recently in I think New Jersey, also in the US, there is this issue that came up in 2024 again of another military person who has been involved in this, fraudulent diversion of monies meant for armor, about $8 million. Now, so when we focus on this only, we can really trace some of the reasons why this military is not performing. And this trend has been there since I think Buhari's government, because during Buhari's government, the level of corruption, left, right, center within the government is so large, is so unprecedented that virtually, I think Sarah was saying that they would even take the Buhari to court for not prosecuting all of these cases of corruption that have been discovered. So that being said, that's one. On the aspect or on the issue of the American government coming down, I think let's look at this again. It's very obvious. That's from my little calculations. One, there is a need to establish that there is genocide in Nigeria before the US can respond using the R2P, responsibility to protect, under the charter. So once that is not established, then it means they cannot come under any other heading other than that, because that is the provision that will back their own military action in Nigeria. So, and as it is, what is going on is, I think from the sitting in Congress and all of that, is to really establish that there is this genocide, because it's the major ground why they can come in and intervene. Now, so looking at the way the back and forth is going within the Nigerian, what the Nigerian government is trying to put out, and based on the hearing at the Congress, you could see I think the division that has been caused. So, and I think the recent post by the Secretary of War, of course, goes to the effect that they have to use that language, they have to maintain it, the issue of the genocide. So whether it is there or not, it's them coming down. I think is about the last option out of the possible 6 steps in checking or correcting, protecting issues of genocide, because they've been outlined. The last one is the 6th one. I think that's what I think Trump himself said, that if the Nigerian government cannot do the needful, then That would be the only ground that they can come. So, and it means they would have to give them time. Now, so if that's the real ground why they would have to come, one, then there will be, sanctions should follow, and other steps of support, what you may call the institutional backing and support, maybe justice, have the perpetrators been caught, and all of that. Now, come down to the Nigerian scene. I think there is a diversionary tactics in play that the pattern of the atrocities, the terrorism has been maybe can be pinned down to say it's religious. The recent development have now tended to, let me just say, blocked or blur the track now or the pattern. Okay, the one in KB is a different thing. So, for somebody now to come and kidnap the church in Kwara, yeah, clearly this is obvious. Then the one of the school girls, questionable. Yeah, questionable in the sense that it's a kidnap, not directly. So anybody to kidnap, and even the one in Kwara that they are asking now for ransom, is there something? So do terrorists based on genocide, in genocide cases, do they ask for ransom? It's about just maybe eliminating whoever it is that is the subject of the whole thing. So now I think what is happening right now, whether we call it so, it's a diversionary tactics to create, to delay whatever it's going to be for these people, whoever are the ones benefiting from this racket, for them to cover their tracks and so on, and which will also justify some of the theories that these years that are taken are just going to be used as human shelter. So you can see the level of, I think, mess we've come to. But the best thing is, of course, I would say, is not to look at the problem from where we are right now. Let's look a bit back and then we get here. I think I would want to put it out there and allow us to rub our minds around these things. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Didi, for your submission. You spoke about the killings in Kwara State, and sorry, you talked about the incident in Kwara State, and it would appear that they are asking for ransom. That if they are indeed, this case is about genocide, why is it that they're asking for ransom? But we must understand, or maybe you forgot, that these guys killed a lot of people there, right? They killed some individuals there, so they didn't just come in and pick people and say we're looking for ransom. Based on the video we saw and based on the evidence out there, what people have said, they killed quite a number of persons there. Because the first statement said that it was about 3 of them, but from what we're hearing, it's more than 3. So, going to the church is not a good thing, or rather going to the mosque, wherever you go, where people are having their services, where people are worshiping their God, and one decided to do that, right? But I do understand the point you're trying to make. Now, also in your own words, it would then appear that this is a distraction, this is a sabotage against the president. And you said something about the one in Kebbi, and then you spoke about the one in Niger State. You see, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm very, very mindful. Things that I don't know anything about, I've always said I don't know anything about it. Hence, I ask questions. I would like to, learn from you guys and, pick your brains and everything. Now, if you think that America shouldn't come in and they have to, there's something that you mentioned, I forgot to write it down, that they shouldn't come in, and, if they come in, then this will be a problem for us. We have a problem already. For the past 12 years or 15 years, we've been dealing with this issue, right? And we have somebody who said they're coming to help us. Don't you think that we need that help? Because our military is right, they are stretched already. The other security approach, they're stretched. And it's very clear to the blind that we as a country cannot handle this alone, right? Don't you think that we need help? Do you think there's anything wrong in America or any other country saying, we're going to come in and we're going to help you? Mr. DT, don't you think we need help?
Yeah, we do, certainly, because that's the procedure. But what I'm trying to say, which you missed, is I'm not against US coming down, but there are protocols like Baki would tell you of why they have to come in based on the convention, because there is a profession. It's not something that they can just cook overnight and say, okay, we're just coming in to do this. No, there are steps to be followed. And I think the first step would say it that one, there is a complaint and it's obvious that there is religiously motivated killings against Christians, of course, then two, then let's hold the proceedings or the hearings to establish weigh the evidences since there are back and forth or proposition or suppositions or oppositions to the idea that there is a genocide. So, and once the evidence of genocide has been impeached, then it means it has to be something else. This is not genocide. I don't know if you understand the language or what is being played out here. So as long as it will not be fully established based on what is happening, that it is a genocide, and that's what the Nigerian government is trying to establish, and maybe using their own whatever resources at their disposal, then finally, the pattern of this, the recent, kidnappings, the killings, the what have you, is completely trying to blur that it is what you may call clearly a case of the genocide as it is, and that's why you have it in Kipi. And then now picking up these schoolgirls and even the one, of course, the one in the Inquara church, yeah, sure, they had to clear their way, certainly. But then the ultimate thing is now these people are asking for ransom. And we know traditionally when there is a kidnap, the logical thing is, the next thing that will follow, of course, will be the issue of ransom. So I think it's part of the porosity of the Nigerian scripture architecture that all these things happen. So which takes us down to that dimension of the rot within our security architecture, and directly we can say it's corruption, because lots of money meant for the purchase of arms to equip our men have been diverted into private funds, private estates, private pockets. So, and nothing has been done about it, and it becomes a case of clear impunity. So you could see that it's a whole systemic or organic rot that we're in. So it's about us now beginning to see how do we now draw the lines, how do we now begin to approach all of this. So, and as whenever you see me on a space, I'm always interested in the way forward, because as we speak today, I was able to come up with a theory, I call it the theory of peace, for peace in Nigeria. So, and in that my theory of peace for peace in Nigeria, I clearly pointed it out that, for example, Islam is the most susceptible religion to terrorism. So, and it's that part of that, its porosity and susceptibility to terrorism has been utilized, has been usurped by the powers that be, and which explains why, for example, at the point in time, you'll find the Obama administration is supporting, what do you call this Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. They were there for them at the point. They considered them their allies. When Trump came, he reversed it. And the issue of the Taliban, the Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, so all of these things, when you look at them, you see that they are all Muslim establishments, and it's because of that porosity. They needed to be radical, so they are financed, and all of this. So at the bottom of what I'm trying to establish is to say that there is a need in Nigeria specifically for a commission that would be responsible for regulating, de-radicalizing, and checking this Islamic extremism, which is very important. It's not enough for us just to sit down here and shoot and shout. And most the issue of this Fulani herdsmen, Ghana has done something remarkable. Even the US itself has done something remarkable, of which, from my research, 20% of total land mass of US is reserved for agricultural, grazing. And then to Ghana here, close to us, and next who have similar problems, have done it and they have solved their problems. So we cannot keep on, following, like you said, 12 years or 20 years of the same problem and then not getting anywhere. This insults our own collective intelligence as a people. Yeah, I yield here. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. DJ, for your wonderful submission. I have a question for you, and make it very quick. Now, we saw that the Nigerian the president have sent delegates to America, and they met quite a number of persons. This we know that they met with Congressman Riley Moore, they met with Senator Smith, and today we saw that they met with the Secretary of War. There are a lot of persons who believe that they have not done enough. Do you think that the individual they have had this conversation with would change anything? Do you think that is coming too late? Do you think that they have not actually met the right people in America? What is your take on it?
Yes, I want to still go back to my earlier proposition that what they will try to do is, of course, to show that there is no genocide. That word genocide, they will try to dispel it, deny it, and take it away, or downplay it. So as long as they can downplay that, then it means there is no justification for the US to intervene. Let's understand this clearly. Look at the charter that of the R2P, responsibility to protect charter. It's clearly spelled out all the steps, all the reasons, and how it's to be done. So I'm sure, based on what others have added here, that the US is not likely going to be like, they'll pick up a stone and just throw it like that. It's not Trump that will do that. It's a procedure. So whatever these people are doing is not in our interest. Let me put it this way. It's not an interest in the sense that they are delaying, or unless if they are asking for certain military support in a way that would help them, counter these terrorists. So if that's the language that we should come to understand, if this is what we are getting to understand from them, then it's okay. But if they're out there trying to just to deny so that they could delay any means through which the US can respond or can, boots on ground or launch an operation or what have you, then I think it's not helping our case. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. You said it's not in our interest, so it appears that perhaps they will try and water it down and then move on with it, and we continue with our problem. But that's where we are as a country. But thank you very much, Mr. DG, for your submission. We do not have any more speakers. I think we got to wrap it up, guys. Okay, Ro, you raise your hand. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I think I just want to chip in one or two things. And I really want to appreciate the last speaker, Mr. DG, for succinctly putting some things straight. You see, this scenario is pretty similar to Chipo girls. When Chipo girls were abducted by Boko Haram, the then president acted very, very slowly, very reluctant. Good luck, Jonathan. I think there was a lot of skepticism about whether the girls were actually captured or maybe they were just trying to poke the bear, get the interest of the international community to come, and it's almost like election time. This is playing out almost the same thing. When the U.S. actually declared Nigeria a country of special interest, a particular concern, I should say, the government did nothing about it until Trump even made a statement that said he's going to send, his troops here, to do a surgical operations and leave. The Nigerian government still did not do anything about it. It took Jonathan, I think, how many weeks for him to come to the realization and admit that the girls were actually captured. You see, history keeps repeating itself in Nigeria, and I don't know the reluctance, the arrogance that we're Nigerians, that we can act very swiftly. Well, to people who don't live in the United States, don't get it wrong, there are crimes everywhere. As a matter of fact, if you turn on your TV, the local TV, you see crimes every day. Out of the 5 reports, 4 of them are crimes in those local communities. Has U.S. been able to eradicate or diminish its own, crime and criminality situation? I would say no, absolutely no. But the White House, which is the federal government, they have an obligation to intervene in terrorism all across the world. For their own interest, there's a long term. They're looking at a long term. Remember also the undergarment garment bomber, the Mutalab situation. That failed to detonate his bomb, the undergarment bomb. Remember, so they know that Nigeria is a hotbed for terrorism. And sad to say that some part of Nigeria is a fester ground for it. So for the United States to say, hey, Nigeria is a country of particular concern, they're looking at a bigger picture. Eventually, the U.S. can't deny everybody visas to come over to their own country. There will be some people of the place higher positions in the country that can still compromise the security system. So the U.S. doesn't trust nobody. So for them, it's like nipping it in the bud on time. And when they say the intervention, a lot of people, misinterpreted it like we don't love our country. We want the U.S. to invade our country. Oh no, the U.S. had no dog in this fight. As I said before, what do they stand to gain? What do they stand to profit? They're going to spend, if they're sending um, fighter jets, the F-35s, do you know how much it is to send one across the continent? That's millions of dollars. And when you do it per mile, is going to like thousands of dollars per mile. They can send as many as 10, to do the airstrikes and go back. That's a lot of money. How do they get that back? So, but U.S. again, they do all that, all those magnanimity. They do it for the future, so that when they come in the future and they need a favor from you, most likely you are not going to turn them down. There's been rumor and conspiracy theories about the U.S. establishing a base in Nigeria, which has been rejected in the past. And perhaps maybe some people also say, oh, maybe that's why they're now sending weapons to us, because we're not ready to give them a place where they can set up their base. They were successful in Niger Republic, and of course they pulled out. Again, no thanks to the Niger Republic new government, they have to leave there. So what are we saying in essence? It's going to be in the best interest of the Nigerian government to cooperate with the U.S. government. Do U.S. have ulterior motives? Maybe they could. Maybe they have. But at this point right now, we are overwhelmed as a country. We don't have the firepower. We don't have honest men that can fight for their country rather than their religion. In Nigeria, it's across board, whether you're Christian or Muslim or traditionalist. People don't see themselves as Nigerian first. They see themselves as perhaps number one, their tribe, or maybe their religion. So when in that case, when it is that kind of situation, guess what? We're never going to have a nationalistic country where people put their country in high pedestal ahead of any other interest or passion or religion, whatever you want to call it. So it's a very dicey and very difficult situation that we're in. And I want to say this, that if the Nigerian government is smart, they would do it on time. Remember the last time we spoke about 2 weeks ago? I said we don't have time. And one thing Nigeria or Nigerians think they have is luxury of time. And that's why we're lagging behind in terms of development. We don't. We need to act fast, swiftly, and get this thing nipped in the bud. Are we going to, in the next couple of days, eradicate, completely obliterate the terrorists all over the country? The answer is going to be no. But they have, their sponsors, they have, their where they store their arms and ammunitions. They have chains of command. They have people that, helicopters, infrastructure that actually drop those weapons for them. Those are the targets. Those are the things that you need to dismantle before you can reach them. So, and I think with the capacity of the United States in terms of them having satellites, seeing where terrorists are going, how they move, how they can tap into their phones.
You're using it, so if you can run up quickly, sir.
Okay, so yeah, so all of that, they can do it. So we just need their cooperation to help us to eradicate all of those things. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for your submission. Just want to thank everybody that have joined tonight. It's been a very difficult spaces. For some reason, we have some technical problem, or maybe someone is hacking their account. I do not know what the problem is. I'm not able to bring anybody up. So we're going to wrap it up here tonight, and we'll probably come back tonight or tomorrow. And I just wanted to apologize to those requesting for the mic. I can see we have about 17 persons requesting for the mic. There's nothing I can do about it, but I just wanted to apologize from my own end here. And hopefully I will make amends by tomorrow or tonight if we have to come back again. Somebody asked me a question. Obviously, I just don't want to get involved in conspiracy theories. It's not my thing. I don't get involved in what I'm not sure of. Somebody asked me, do I think Bola Tinubu is a CIA agent? I do not know. Whether Bola Tinubu is a CIA agent, I have no idea. I can only speak on what I have 1% idea, but just it doesn't make sense anyway. This is me being mindset, right? Whether it doesn't make sense. If it's a CIA agent, I have no idea, but it doesn't make sense that the CIA is fighting the CIA. I mean, I just want to leave it out for you to make up whatever you want to make up from it. It just doesn't make sense to me. But if it's a CIA agent, I have no idea. I do not know anything about it. But what I'm leaving with you this morning is, if somebody's a CIA agent, why is the CIA fighting their own agent? Does that make sense to anybody? So on that note, I want to wish you guys well, and hopefully we sort out what the problem is with the network or the platform tonight. I apologize once again. Enjoy the rest of the morning. I'll see you some other time. God bless you.